Tolstoy says, "Everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing themselves." But what if that dark force that constantly sabotages you isn't outside, but inside? Today, we'll discuss the great disease Tolstoy diagnosed as the devil within, and the solution that will save your life. But before we begin, welcome to the Daily Books family. Here, we don't just read books, we live them. You are among thousands of modern sages from all corners of the world, from the US to Europe, striving to build themselves. Don't forget to press that notification bell to become part of this community. Now, are you ready to silence that voice inside you? Come on, let's delve into Tolstoy's dark labyrinths for that solution that will save your life.
The year was 1889. In the snowy, boundless lands of Russia, at the Yasnya Polyana estate, one of the world's greatest writers, Leo Tolstoy, was in a strange state of agitation. This giant of a man, who wrote War and Peace and mapped the human soul in Anna Karenina, was moving about his study like a thief. He held a draft in his hands, pages still wet with ink, written in anger and shame. Tolstoy couldn't put these pages in his desk drawer. He couldn't lock them in a safe, because his wife, Sophia, read every line he wrote, and seeing this story could spell the end of their marriage. Tolstoy chose an old leather-covered chair in his library. He removed the upholstery with the precision of a surgeon, hid the pages he had written under the fabric, between the springs, and sewed the upholstery back on. This work remained hidden in that chair for exactly 20 years, tucked away beneath the author's hips like a sin. So what was it that frightened the great Tolstoy so much? What turned him into a fugitive in his own home? What he hid was the devil within. This was no ordinary novel, my friends. It was Tolstoy's confession of a forbidden relationship he had in his youth, a relationship that gnawed at his soul like cancer, an animalistic desire he felt for a peasant woman that he could never kill. This story is not just about a fictional character named Eugene Irtenev. It is the story of that dark other we see in the mirror but cannot tell anyone about. Today on Daily Books, we will not just examine a literary work. Today we will discuss a curse that stretches from 19th century Russia to the modern human of today. We will see how willpower is broken, how things we say I would never do are done, and how the devil is not a horned creature, but that whispering voice in our minds. If you're ready to face your own darkness, sit back, because the upholstery is being torn off the chair and secrets are being revealed.
We cannot understand this tragedy without knowing the man at the center of the story, Eugene Irtenev. He is not an ordinary dandy or pleasure-seeking heir. Eugene is a brilliant young man who studied law at Russia's most prestigious schools, entered high society in Petersburg, and earned everyone's admiration with his intelligence and good manners. However, fate has a bitter surprise in store for him with his father's death. When his father dies, he leaves Eugene not only a noble surname, but a failing estate, unpaid bills, and creditors knocking at the door. Eugene faces a very clear, very sharp fork in the road. The first path is to renounce his inheritance, sell the estate, and live a comfortable, carefree life as a civil servant in the city. This is the easy path. The second path is to return to that muddy countryside, that desolate village, take on his father's debts, and work until he dies to restore his family's honor. Eugene doesn't hesitate. He chooses the right thing, the difficult thing. He takes his mother and settles in the village of Semyonovska. From that moment on, his life becomes like a monastic discipline. He wakes up before dawn every morning. His delicate city hands are now hardened by soil, manure, and horse reins. All day he inspects the fields, argues with villagers about the harvest, and in the evenings, by the dim light of a gas lamp, he disappears among the account books until dawn. He calculates interest, postpones debts, counts every penny. Eugene has become a machine. He doesn't drink, gamble, or squander his money. Everyone around him, his mother, his neighbors, look at him with admiration. He is a symbol of willpower, sacrifice, and morality. But beneath this flawless armor, there is a huge crack that no one sees, one that even Eugene himself is afraid to admit to himself.
Eugene is young. His body is strong. His blood is boiling. And this absolute loneliness in the village, this social isolation, begins to transform his most primitive urges into a monster. If he were in the city, balls, flirtations, and social circles could have dispersed this energy. But here, in the midst of silence, Eugene is left alone with his own body. It is precisely at this point that Tolstoy exposes the greatest hypocrisy, the greatest lie of that era, and in fact, of the male mind. Eugene does not see this sexual hunger he feels as a sin or a weakness. He deceives himself with modern medical books. At that time, doctors said that men should abstain from sex for health and for the balance of the nervous system. Eugene uses this lie as a shield. He tells himself, I don't want to fall in love. I don't want to destroy a home. It's just a physical need, like eating, drinking water, sleeping. I have to satisfy it so I can focus on my work. It's a health issue. This mindset is very dangerous, friends, because when you cloak sin in the guise of a medical necessity, you shut down your conscience. Eugene begins to seek out a woman, not to love her, but simply to obtain a drug, a solution that will satisfy only his body without involving his soul. And this search for a solution leads him to the hunter in his own home, in his own land, the forest ranger, Danila.
Danila is an old, cunning man with flexible moral values. When Eugene shyly stammers out his problem, Danila immediately understands the situation. Meeting his master's need is a simple task for him. Don't worry, sir, he says. We'll take care of it. We'll find someone fresh, clean, and away from her husband. This conversation is the first concrete step in Eugene's moral decline. This educated, noble gentleman is bargaining for a woman with a peasant, and Danila finds his prey, Stepanida, a peasant woman whose husband works in the city, young, lively, full of life, and known to be a bit loose. The meeting is arranged. Place, the depths of the forest. Time, noon when everyone is sleeping. Eugene mounts his horse, his heart pounding as he rides into the forest. But this excitement is not the excitement of love. It is the dark, adrenaline-filled excitement of doing something forbidden. On one hand, he feels defiled. On the other, he takes refuge in the lie of health. This is the last time, he says. Just once, I'll relax and it will be over. When he reaches the forest, he sees her, Stepanida. She stands among the trees, wearing a red headscarf and apron, barefoot. The moment Eugene sees her, all those philosophical thoughts in his mind, all those health excuses evaporate. All that remains is pure animalistic desire. She is beautiful, but it is not a classical, delicate beauty. It is an earthy, sun-kissed, wild, and powerful beauty.
Stepanida neither fears nor blushes before her master. There is an inviting sparkle in her eyes. Eugene approaches her. Their conversation is meaningless. Everything begins with the coldness of a transaction, but ends with the fire of passion. Eugene takes the money from his pocket and presses it into her hand. The woman takes the money and hides it in her bosom. At that moment, it is just a moment of release for Eugene, an easy profit for Stepanida. When the deed is done, Eugene mounts his horse and gallops away. The wind hitting his face makes him feel refreshed. "Oh well," he says, "it's over. A weight has been lifted from my shoulders. Now I can get back to work. My mind is clear." This is the height of self-deception. Eugene does not yet know that he has stepped into a swamp, that the mud is sticking to his feet, and that every movement will pull him further down. That day and the days that followed were truly productive for Eugene. He felt no pangs of conscience because he did not code that woman, Stepanida, as a human being in his mind. She was a paid service. In fact, when Eugene saw Stepanida on the road, he didn't even look at her face. He pretended not to recognize her. "I am the master, she is the peasant. There is no bond between us," he thinks. Debts are paid, fields are plowed, and Eugene continues to be the perfect son in his mother's eyes. Every now and then, when the need flares up again, the meetings in the forest are repeated. But each time, Eugene numbs himself by saying, "This is the last time. Everything will end when I get married. I will turn over a new leaf." That, my friends, is the devil's greatest trick. He makes you feel like you're in control until he has the noose around your neck. Eugene thought he was in control, but Stepanida's red headscarf had long since tied Eugene's fate in a knot. This dark period of Eugene's life seems to come to an end with an unexpected decision, or rather, a rescue plan. Eugene has largely paid off his debts and now is ready to take the big step society expects from him, marriage. But for Eugene, this marriage is not just an attempt to build a home, it is an operation to pour concrete over the past, to cleanse the sooty stains on his soul. The candidate who appears before him, Liza Anenskia, is the complete opposite of the other woman Eugene knew, Stepanida. Liza is white, pure, fragile. Her voice is as soft as a church hymn, her skin as white as if it had never seen the sun. When Eugene looks at Liza, he sees not just a wife, but a saint. Her purity will purify Eugene too. Eugene says to himself, "This is it. This is my cure." Stepanida was a disease. Liza is the cure. The wedding happens. The incense in the church, the prayers, the bride in white. Eugene truly believes he is reborn at that moment. He locks away the sweaty, animalistic moments he shared with Stepanida in the darkest basement of his mind and throws away the key. He is now a respectable landowner, a faithful husband, and a gentleman. The past has been coded as a youthful mistake and shelved. The first year of marriage is like a dream for Eugene. Farm work is going well. Liza becomes pregnant. Piano music echoes through the house. Samovar tea is drunk in the garden. French novels are read in the evenings. Eugene feels safe within this civilization fortress he has built. He feels so safe that he no longer even thinks about Stepanida. He even cuts off the alimony he promised to give her, because now he has nothing to fear. He is a hero who has conquered his self in his own eyes. This period is the greatest illusion Tolstoy presents us with, the false paradise. Eugene believes he is happy, but in reality, he is merely numb. Those wild urges have not disappeared. They have simply fallen asleep beneath the calm, colorless tranquility Liza offers. Eugene mistakes the tenderness he feels when holding his wife's hand for passion. But passion lies much deeper, in a much hotter and more dangerous place, waiting like a volcano ready to erupt. Eugene thinks he has defeated the devil, but the devil is not defeated, friends. The devil only waits. He waits for your weakest moment, the second you are most vulnerable. And then, on an ordinary summer day at the height of harvest season, the moment arrives. Eugene mounts his horse and rides out to inspect the fields. The air is hot. The earth smells rich with warmth and fertility. The rustling of scythes, the rhythmic movements of the working peasants. Eugene, riding his horse with that masterful air, passes among the workers, and suddenly, time stands still. Among dozens of peasant women, a silhouette catches his eye. Bent over, she is reaping the crops. The woman straightens up, wipes the sweat from her forehead, and looks at Eugene. This is Stepanida. But she is no longer the old, timid peasant girl. The passing of time has matured her, beautified her, made her more of a woman. Her dark skin glistening in the sun, the red beads around her neck, the piercing look in her eyes. Eugene wants to stop his horse, but cannot. Only his gaze is locked. Stepanida looks into her master's eyes and smiles. This smile is not a greeting. It is a challenge. It is a reminder. Hidden in that gaze is the sentence, "I am here, Eugene. Your white, clean world is a lie. The real thing is this soil, this sweat, and us."
This brief moment has the effect of an atomic bomb dropped on Eugene's perfect world. Eugene spurs his horse and gallops away as if fleeing, but the poison has already entered his bloodstream. He returns home. Liza is sitting on the porch, embroidering. Eugene looks at his wife. After seeing Stepanida in the field just moments ago, bursting with life, vibrant and alive, now Liza appears to him like a dead person, pale, lifeless, like a doll with the blood drained from it. This is where the tragedy begins. Eugene begins to be repulsed by his wife's innocence. He feels suffocated by his own home, the sound of the piano, that clean life. His mind begins to swing back and forth like a pendulum. On one side, morality, religion, society, and his pregnant wife. On the other, that wild desire waiting him in the field, calling him. Eugene cannot sleep that night. When he closes his eyes, he sees not his wife's face, but Stepanida's sweaty neck, her smiling eyes. "What am I doing?" he says. "I'm a married man." But logic is like a paper tower against desire. The devil no longer knocks at the door. He has shouldered it open and entered. Eugene, returning from the field that day, had actually left his soul behind there. The man now wandering that house is not Eugene, but a slave wearing the leash of his desires around his neck.
What we witness from this point onward is not a romantic, forbidden love story. Tolstoy dons his apron here and, like a psychiatrist, dissects Eugene's mind with a scalpel. The situation before us is a clinical case. Eugene is in the grip of an obsession, medically termed an obsession.
By day, he is Eugene Irtenev, the respectable man who manages the fields, gives orders to the workers, and drinks tea with his wife. But when the sun sets and the shadows lengthen, that respectable man's skin peels away, revealing a helpless, trembling addict beneath. Eugene tortures himself to avoid seeing Stepanida. The more he tells himself, "I won't think about her," the more his mind betrays him. He searches for her in every tree shadow, every rustle of the wind. If he hears a woman's laughter in the village, his heart leaps and he wonders, could it be her? This is no longer love, not even lust. It is like a heroin addict going into withdrawal. Eugene carries a dirty secret in his stomach like a stone within his clean life. He hates himself. When he looks in the mirror, he wants to spit on his face. What kind of scum am I? He asks himself. How can I desire that woman, that filth, when I have an angel of a wife at home? But hatred does not extinguish desire. On the contrary, it makes it fiercer, inflames it. We see the most painful picture of Eugene's downfall at a village festival. Eugene, that big gentleman, leaves his house to see Stepanida, to catch even a glimpse of her from afar. But he doesn't go out the front door. He slips out through the back garden. He doesn't go to the village square. He can't. He hides behind the bushes and elder trees. Think about it, friends. Eugene Irtenev, educated, rich, noble, in the dark, among the insects, he waits in ambush like a thief, a pervert. Fires are burning in the square. The villagers are dancing, and Eugene sees her in the light of the flames. Stepanida is spinning in her red skirt, laughing. The woman's joy is Eugene's torment. The woman's freedom is Eugene's imprisonment. Eugene feels so small, so wretched there among the bushes. Tolstoy cries out to us, "A man who is a slave to his passions is a slave, even if he is a master." This toxic mood inevitably spills over into his marriage. Liza must be blind to notice the change in her husband. Eugene's distant gaze, his unexplained outbursts, his waking up in the middle of the night and pacing. Liza asks with pure concern, "What's wrong, Eugene? Do you have a problem?" This question is a lash to Eugene, because Liza's innocence is a mirror that reflects Eugene's guilt back at him. Instead of feeling compassion for her wife, Eugene begins to feel an inexplicable anger towards her. The guilty person blames the victim. Inside, he shouts, "It's your fault. You're too innocent. You're too dull. If you were enough, I wouldn't have gone into that swamp." Of course, he can't say these things. He lies. "Work is busy. I'm tired. My head hurts," he says. But the biggest lie he tells is to himself. When he hugs Liza, he searches for Stepanida's earthy scent, even in the hair he smells. This hypocrisy drives Eugene to the point of madness. There are no longer two Eugenes. There is only one fragmented Eugene. And this mind is like a bomb, ready to explode. And that long-awaited moment arrives, the moment when willpower fails. Eugene tries to send Stepanida away from the village, but fails. He considers offering his father money, but cannot bring himself to do it. Every door slams shut in his face, because, in truth, it is he who is closing the doors. Deep down, he doesn't want her to leave. The devil seizes Eugene's moment of weakness and whispers that deadly whisper in his ear. "Don't fight it, Eugene. Just one more time. One last farewell meeting. If you see her, Your curiosity will pass. Your fire will die down. It's your right. No one will know. The famous lie of addicts. This is the last time. Eugene clings to this lie like a lifeline. When he learns that Stepanida is waiting for him in a barn, behind a garden wall, the moral man who resisted is dead. All that remains is an animal with the leash of his desires around its neck. Eugene leaves the house. His feet drag him toward his doom, toward that woman. There is no turning back now. The battle is over. Eugene has lost.